somebody having what I think we're all really in touch with at times of like just fear of like time running out, right? So don't have the family yet, don't have the partner yet, business isn't growing fast enough, right? All this stuff. What is that, right? It sounds very much like I'm not there yet, right? So I'm not there yet. And yet we forget that there's really no there, that it's always here, and that where we're actually trying to get to is here in a way that's really meaningful, where we can be happy and effective and present and, doing all the big things we want to do, right? But that fear of like running out of time, it's another form of attachment of the brain, right? Can you see how that's attachment? It's like I'm attached to it being different than it is, right? So of course, what's the experience of that? It's suffering. It's a real connection to suffering, being, I might run out of time. It's an attachment to a fantasy of how life is supposed to be instead of actually living the life that you're in right now, right? And so guess what? We're all doing that. It's actually one of the powers of being a human being. It's what creates desire and motivation and makes us go out and change the world in all these great ways. So I'm not saying we should have zero of this going on, but to the point where it comes up and we can't do anything about it and then we're just suffering, that's fucking miserable, right? Let's all get connected to being alone, really wanting a family, not having it, feeling like we're getting older and less attractive. My business isn't what I want it to be. Nothing's working out, right? Like, holy shit, what about the mind that's like, oh, wait, all these things are working out. Like, I'm safe. I'm happy. I've got great friends. I've got whatever, right? And to the degree that we're not choosing that, or to the degree that we can't manage our own attention properly and be aware that we're doing that to ourselves, is miserable, right? It's miserable. And I don't mean to like be, cheeky with this, but, it's the most obvious Buddha quote that's ever existed, right? The mind is everything. What you think, you become. And I hope to all of you that sounds silly. Like, yeah, Rob, we know that, right? Like that should be obvious now. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. And I don't mean like later. It's like literally where your attention goes, that's what you are, right? I used to try to tell people, if you're really sitting looking at a tree, you are the tree. You are the fucking tree. So can you get down with the fact that wherever you're placing your attention, that's what's filling you up in the moment, right? Do you get that? Who fucking gets that, really? Like, that's what we're doing. And so the way this hides from us is we walk around and we're fucking sure that like we're thinking about what we're supposed to be thinking about. And we're sure that there's some better puzzle or problem. Like, if I just got there, man, if I just got there, right? And yet we're living our whole life never where we are, never here, because we're filling our mind with some fiction that doesn't exist and we're pissed that it doesn't exist. Like if you were watching a kid do this, you'd feel sad for them. You'd be like, I'm so sorry you're doing that. Please stop doing that, right? And then theory, if we have no idea what it is to just be present, just to ground and be like, oh, fuck them. That's what my ass feels like in the chair. That's what my feet feel like as I walk. That's what this really tastes like while I'm here, right? When we wake up into that simplicity for a second, we realize it's not very scary. It's not very difficult. And, oh shit, I'm just doing this silly little thing all the time. Why do I keep doing that? Maybe I'm going to make it on my to-do list to stop doing that quite so often, right? Like, to do, cut that shit out a little bit, right? So the grounding in the principles of this, right, starts with where your thoughts go. Quite literally, you are that, right? He says you will become that. Become kind of implies time. I'm going to say it's even more immediate. When you really look at the tree, you are the tree, right? When you really are pining for what you're not, you really are suffering in that moment. That's like you've moved your consciousness into suffering. And when you move it into gratitude, you've just become grateful. You've literally just become grateful, okay? So that's one concept. The other one is, to that person who's suffering like that, which is all of us to whatever degree at different times, okay? But that whole fear of like, I'm not enough, I'm not going to get there, I'm not going to get the family I want, this is going to end, all that. It's all going to fucking end, guys. All of it. The whole thing. It's all going away. Earth is falling into the sun. We're all dead. It's going away. So stop wasting what is here and what is amazing to whatever degree. And by the way, amazing doesn't mean fucking great. In duality, it's not always good. Sometimes it's really bad, but it is amazing. If you look at it, the fact that we're here, it's goddamn amazing that we're here. Shocking, in fact. I mean, why the fuck are we here? It's crazy that we're here. And we let it be this mundane, boring shit somehow. Like, what? I am pink and have fucking 10 this going on. I don't, why? I fucking weird as shit. Every day weird as shit. It is amazing. Seriously. It's shocking. So why do we fight these feelings that come up for us? Why do we fight these feelings? Why are we so selfish to try to make it all so good all the time that a bad feeling comes up and we start fighting this feeling? Because what's happening is bad isn't actually that bad when you can actually just be with it. It is the act of resistance to what is that is suffering. That's so important. Like just that, like that. If I could just hand that out, right? It's that bad actually, when you're not fucking trying to get away from it, when you're just with what is, actually isn't that bad. It requires judgment to go, fuck, I don't like this as much as this other thing. And then you're suffering. Now you're off to the races of suffering. Now, in judgment, is bad worse than good? Yeah, fucking I get it. We all want the good. That's great. But to the degree that we're not changing it and that we've just decided to suffer, we need to do that less.